Millions in Florida without power in the wake of Hurricane Irma. The storm has weakened to a tropical storm and continues its path west towards Georgia. The cost of total damages has dropped to $49 billion from $200 billion earlier in terms of estimates. Now, our very own Erik Schatzker is reporting on Worth Avenue in Palm Beach. Erik, great to have you with us. I know you've been traveling as well throughout the day there, so just explain the kind of damage that you've seen wrought and what attempts there are being made to get back to some form of normality.
Well, Julia, if you don't mind, let's start with this, because this is Worth Avenue. This is one of the most exclusive, expensive retail locations in America. And as you can see, it is empty. Palm Beach is a ghost town. We had to finagle our way in here, talking to the cops and telling them what we were doing, which was reporting on the damage from Hurricane Irma, because they aren't even letting the residents in. And when I say they aren't letting the residents in, we're talking about people like the Koch brothers, for example, Ken Griffin, the billionaire founder of Citadel, Henry Kravis, Ken Langone. These are people who live, the billionaires who live, at least as far as their vacation homes are concerned, here in Palm Beach. This is a town with an average, median sales price in residential home transactions of almost $1 million. Can you believe there's a Porsche rocking up to us just now, but this is the one car that we've actually seen on the road, would you believe it or not? And I'm just going to wave him through because he has no idea what we're up to.
See if you can see who it is, Erik. Oh.
But this does give you a little bit of a sense. You can see here that the Palm Beach, the people who run this town have already tidied up some of the palm fronds, which were scattered across the street earlier today. As we drove down from Orlando, we saw a lot worse, and if you like, I can get into that.
Yeah, please do, because it's supposed to be a 2-hour, 43-minute drive, according to Google Maps. I'm sure you encountered some difficulty, though, and did you have to refuel, for instance?
The hardest thing, quite honestly, was finding gas. We had to wait in line about 45 minutes because we were only able to find one gas station along 95, or at least off of that I-95 corridor that had gas. And given the fact that we weren't the only people using the Gas Buddy app, there were a lot of other folks lined up trying to get gasoline. It was only 87 octane was available. You couldn't get super. You couldn't get any of the high-performance stuff for the Porsche that just drove by. And they limited it to $20. $20. Cash only. The irony there, of course, is that it was Citgo, owned by the Venezuelan government. So think of the hurricane in Florida as floating the Maduro administration in Venezuela, if you like. But what we saw on the way down were a lot of flooding, a lot of downed trees, a lot of uprooted palm trees. In fact, some of the iconic palms that line the boulevard on the way down into Palm Beach are uprooted. You can't see them right here because we chose to tell this story from Worth Avenue as opposed to that entryway boulevard into Palm Beach. But you can imagine how it's going to feel for these people as they return to see those palms tilted over and carved up with a chainsaw as they were when we drove in.
Erik,
so I mentioned flooding, I mentioned downed trees. A lot of billboards have been blown out, the ones that weren't taken offline, which would have been a wise idea before the storm. Joe?
Erik, are authorities saying anything about the return of power and, in general, the return of people to that area?
Well, as far as this area is concerned, I think Palm Beach is really just trying to tidy things up. There's some folks who are riding down the street here on a bicycle. You'll see them in the moment as they come into view. So clearly some people are bit by bit getting back on the island, but it's a controlled access. As we mentioned earlier, there are police at every point. It's going to take weeks to answer your question, Joe, to restore full power. I suspect places like Palm Beach with a tax base like this will be up and running far faster than other parts of the state. And people we know are going to be allowed to return to their homes, if not today, tomorrow in places like Palm Beach. We know that's the case in Miami Beach. We heard it from the mayor himself down there.